Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be looking at the week 2, well, I guess this is actually week 1 financial analysis or financial movement of Double Masters. I say this is week 1 because this is the actual release weekend of Double Masters. All this data I got from last week was stuff that had been open to pre-release, which I guess there wasn't really a pre-release, but stuff that people had on hand that they were able to open and show. So since then, I've been checking out Alpha Investments, and they have opened up 4 total cases. I think actually 5 cases at this point, at the time of this recording. But I'm just going to go with the first 4 cases, because that is the precedent for data, and I'm just going to be keeping track of those 4 because I think it's pretty decent, and we'll get to those in a second. But I have the pricing from when the cards were kind of pre-selling from August 2nd. And we have had a bunch of movement in the last week. So as of this recording, the movement for most of the cards is a general downward trend. But we have seen a few cards that went up in price, such as Stoneforge Mystic, Phyrexia Metamorph, Crop Rotation, Doubling Season had a pretty big jump, Exploration, Kalia had a pretty big jump, Expedition Map, Mox Opal, and then Urza's Mine and Urza's Tower. I think that Power Plant will probably also see a increase in price in the coming days. But between week 1 and week 0 and week 1 at this point, I did a kind of rough math for EV of a box topper slot for and I'm talking, when I say box topper slot, I'm talking about VIP Masters foil showcase card that you can get out of the pack, which you get 2 of. So what I ended up doing was that any chance that there was a rare, I doubled it up, and then I took the total and divided by 60, which gave us an approximate slot EV value of $57.78 for week 0, which is good. So on average, if you opened up a VIP Masters pack, your 2 foil showcase cards would be worth more than the pack. That's fallen slightly down to $48.16 this week, so you're down to making about $96 on the 2 showcase cards. That number could be a little different because, as we know now, the first slot in the showcase foils is always going to be a rare. There's no chance to get double mythic. So it looks like the chance for the first slot is actually going to be a little bit of a cheaper card. So that's a little bit of a different math that I have to do. So it would appear to be that this would be the EV for the price of the card in the second slot. But for that slot, we're down almost $10. So we have seen a slight lowering in value, which is to be expected, I imagine. Just with the set being released and the availability of the cards, a number of cards went down. I mean, we see some big card movement. Like Karn Liberator went down a bunch, Chase the Mind Sculptor, Avacyn, Force of Will took a huge hit, Thoughtseize and Toxic Deluge, and we have Sword Light and Shadow, like the sword that took the biggest hit. All those cards seeing $20 or more losses over the last week. So that I think that's to be expected. The set's just out. The cards are available. I think we'll see these prices move upwards once the product is out of print and the availability of the product becomes more scarce. But we'll have to see how that goes. But moving on to some of the case evaluations from what I saw in Alpha Investments, which I'll link their channel in the description so you can go check out all their case openings, because I just don't have the resources to open that much product. So looking at Rudy's first case, it was just amazing because the Force of Wills almost covered everything. He had a profit of $921 in week one. Even with all the losses and the hits to Force of Will, that case was just incredibly strong, and he's still showing a profit of $388 for this particular week. And I kind of expect that to go down a little bit more. I don't think it's going to go down too much further, but I do think it's going to downward trend for a little bit and then probably come back up. I could be surprised though, but I mean, it all depends on how much product is open and the availability. If there's people still opening VIP packs like a month after, it's going to continue to go down. But if the supply runs dry, then I think we're going to start seeing that stuff trend back up. And I think that's going to be the case for everything here. So the second box, which was also just a great box that he had opened, or not box, but an actual case, 16 packs. There was the one Force of Will that went down, and the Mana Crypt that went down, but it didn't go down by a significant margin. The Sword of Light and Shadow was probably something that was pretty badly hurt. But just some losses. We did see a profit loss go from $469 to $143. So, over a $320 decline in the card prices over the last week. And these cards in their pre-release, they were pretty hyped up and people were wanting them. And some of it was just driven by, I want to make sure I have this, so I'm going to pre-order it. And some of it was just driven by, I don't know what the availability of products is going to be, so I don't want to miss out, and I think this is a good price now to go ahead and buy, so I should go ahead and buy and just watch it go back up in a year or so. So on case 3, which I believe is a pretty new case, this was not the greatest of cases in terms of showcase cards. Like, I still think it was pretty decent, and I wouldn't necessarily be upset. I mean, 3 Stoneforge Mystics is pretty boss. I would love to get 3 Stoneforge Mystics. And then 3 Meddling Mages is what really hurt here. Like, Meddling Mage was just... I'm pretty low on it just because it doesn't see a lot of play in a whole lot of stuff. And that's showing here in terms of how people think about Meddling Mage. Like, Meddling Mage is just $10 a piece right now. If you need Meddling Mages, now's the time to just pick them up. But we went from a loss of $186 to an increase in the loss to $323. So about $150 increase, decrease in the total price. And for case number 4, we started off as a profit in showcase cards with $291. Once again, with the price decrease of a number of cards, especially things, it's just like, it wasn't even any one card in particular, it was just a decline in everything. As you can see from the data chart, like, everything went down except for a few things. So when you have numbers like that, your overalls are going to look pretty low too. I think Sword of Light and Shadow being $90 at the onset, and it took I was actually surprised by this number. I didn't think this card was going to start off so high. Maybe people like the art on it, but the playability of the card, I mean, it's a card that has playability, but I don't think it's quite to the level of Fire and Ice and Feast and Famine. So those cards still maintain close to their $90 initial mark, but Sword of Light and Shadow just took a huge hit. And at this point, this $291 profit has become a $34 loss if they kept all the cards and didn't decide to sell out in the pre-release hype. So, I mean, what we gather from this really is that the card prices are trending down, and I don't think that's surprising at all. I believe that this is pretty typical of what we're going to see, and I just think if you're looking to buy specific cards, then buying singles is the way to go. The prices are pretty reasonable from what I can see, and some of these are just like solid buys. If you want if you want meddling mages, like $10 a pop for showcase meddling mages that are probably never being printed again. I think that's a pretty good price. Same thing with the Goblin Guide went down even further. You know, it was $100 for a playset last week, and now it's $60 for a playset of foil showcase Goblin Guides. Like, it's insane prices. Same thing with like Fatal Push and like Brainstorms. These are great prices. And I just think if you're in the market for these cards, like you're looking to trick out a legacy deck or a modern deck even, like, now's the time to buy these cards. You might go down a little bit further, but I think long term they're going to go up just because of the uniqueness and availability that's going to be coming down the line. Because I mean, they're not, from everything I've heard, and I'm no expert by any sort of the imagination, but I don't think any more of this product's going to be really getting out into circulation. I don't think there's going to be like a second wave because this is being marketed as a collectible item. I wouldn't say the same thing for regular Double Masters boxes, but for these VIP packs, I just don't think Wizards is going to be putting a whole lot more out there. But, I mean, they have surprised me before, so we can see what they do. But, what do you all think about Double Masters and the VIP product? Do you want there to be a second wave of product coming out, or are you happy with just the first wave and it being limited to that supply that's out? I think as a collectible item, I am okay with that. I think if this was... I think I'm happy with the limited availability of VIP packs. I think that they could print more of the regular packs because that's just kind of the balance you need to strike between having product out there for the player base to be able to get at an affordable cost and then having something that they want to be collectible. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. I like hearing or reading what you all have to say. And have you picked up any Double Masters or VIP packs? If so, did you pull anything great? Feel free to let me know. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, just give it a thumbs down. It ain't gonna hurt my feelings. And if you can subscribe, if you're watching it and you're not subscribed and you like the content, subscribe always helps. And feel free to share with your friends, family, anyone that's into Magic and looking in terms of finance of what's going on. Like if you find this information useful, maybe they'll find it useful as well. But thank you all for watching, and until next time, I hope you all take care, stay safe out there, and goodbye.